October 17th, 2018 is the day, and it is actually day number 6 of the ESL Pro League season number 8, coming at you live from the Intel Esports Arena in this lovely city of Copenhagen. Today we've got numerous topics we're going to be talking about with you for once. And for first of all, we're going to be talking a little bit about this Brolin situation. In fact, that is what's hot on the cards right now. Twist is in, Brolin's in, Scream is out, and that is how the Fnatic cookie is starting to crumble. We're going to be going a little bit over the AK-47, a 7.62 caliber weapon with the gas-operated rifle, and that bad boy is not going anywhere, I can assure you that. But more importantly than that, we do have some matches for you too, because believe it or not, we do have the kicking it off with a little bit of Fnatic and a little bit of FaZe clan, baby. You want to be here for that. It's time to get this day underway.
Down for Nitro, gets the ace! The only one sees the shadow, gets the shot, gets the follow-up. It's target practice for Fur. 3 players here, Zipex comes through. Astralis, they've done it!
The road to Odense is not getting any shorter for some of these teams. In fact, that distance might just be gaining some traction. And my name is Trey Saranthus, of course, here from the Intel Esports Arena. I'll be bringing you some of this action alongside of this guy who has the biggest brain and ultimately the wildest hairdo in all of esports. It will be Chad the Spud Burchill. Chad, welcome back for day number 6.
Just need to let Twist know who did it first. And it was me. And it wasn't intentional. So... well, come at me, bro. Don't tag me.
His is a little much, I would have to say.
I like it.
I think at times it probably is a little distracting.
Not to the players.
But let's put it in perspective, Chad.
He's not using it like some kind of element to, distract other people. Or
Chad,
maybe he is.
Here's the perspective. How long does it take you to get your hair together?
I just wake up, man.
Okay. How long do you think it takes Twist to get his hair together?
I don't know.
That is the questions that we need answers to. In fact, you can use hashtag ESL Pro League and tag him in it while you're at it. Either way, that's over the NA side.
Yeah, they played last night.
Yeah, they did. And then, well, I don't think we weren't here for that. So
no, I was back watching in my hotel room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. It was weird because you were also sending me pictures of South Park. But anyway, the point is we do have an entire day of matches, and today is absolutely no different, Chad. Something that you want to say going into today?
I just want to say a really big thank you to Joe Miller, catcher, and our lovely runner, Mikkel, I hope I'm saying that right,
yep,
who have really sorted out the sandwich situation and brought some joy to my life, especially because a clip sandwich here in Copenhagen is the bee's bloody knees. And if you're ever coming here, get yourself a nice foot long from there because she's a winner.
Yeah, Chad, you've been talking about a sandwich for roughly 30 days straight now, consecutively.
Boy, it's
Thank God someone answered the call there. Yes, shout out to all the people that made that happen. And, of course, talking about the standings and where we stand with sandwiches, how about some standings over here on the Pro League, Chad? Let's talk a little about the likes of Astralis, Space Soldiers, Heroic North, Mouse Sports, G2, sitting in your top 6 comfortably, dare I say. Of course, there's a tie there. I could put big.
Look, we obviously know Australia's best team in the world right now, and they're performing very good online. They did drop a game last night on Train, so they weren't too happy with that one. I saw Glaive making a tweet saying hopefully they can perform a little bit better this evening. I think maybe the talking points that we should be sticking with, Na'Vi 4-0 to kick off the season, 12-3 down, T-side and Mirage able to battle all the way back. Pretty fantastic stuff. I'd go back and watch that game if I was a Counter-Strike fan from last night. And at the bottom of the table, Fnatic, we see those roster changes coming to fruition tonight.
Now that was the mixtape Chad that I've been looking to hear from. The guy that's talking way too fast for his own good. You can't speak that fast in Australian. But one team that's speaking all the time nowadays would be Ghost Gaming. They're not so silent anymore. Not so much hiding in the dark shadows as they have emerged as a pretty good-looking team here on the North American side of things.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say from nowhere, but I think the way that Steel has been able to use these players and bring them into the light, no longer in the shadows, it's a good sign for Ghost Gaming. It's not the most competitive region now that Cloud9 have dropped off, so it's good that that Ghost is stepping up. We know that NRG are a unit that's looking pretty hot. At the Star Series with the changes, it wasn't too bad from the Renegades guys, and Liquid, we know right now, second best team in the world, looking good.
Yeah, and that is unfortunate for Cloud9, who have faltered. But
how do you feel about Cloud9?
I think it's a weird time to be a Cloud9 fan, even weirder time to be an alumni, because they do need to figure out what they're doing over there. They do need to have that game plan. But if there's one guy that's shown he has a game plan in esports, it would be a Jack Etienne. I can sing the praises all day long, but
still a company man.
It's just not necessary for me to sing the praises. But in fact, it is necessary for me to give you the update from the different regions around the globe. That's right. It's not just NA and EU anymore. There's a whole plethora of Counter-Strike being played across this planet. And Chad, what on earth are we looking at?
Okay, so normally Pro League historically has been the North American region, and then you have the likes of Europe, which is where we are right now. But that's not the case anymore. We've got tournaments going down in Latin America, Oceania. We've even got Asia and China involved in this one. As you can see on the screen right here, this is the Latin American one. Now, sure, 7 out of these 8 teams on your screen, 5 out of the 6 teams on your screen right now are from Brazil. One of them is from Argentina. I can't pronounce words. I can't pronounce words. What is going on right now?
Argentina.
I've lost words.
Argentina.
I've lost the ability to speak.
Not to be confused with Christiania, which is also
that's
right
also
down the
a place
street.
that's not too far away. But the fact of the matter is, more teams now siphon into the finals for Pro League, right? It's 16 teams, and we want to make it as global as possible. So one team from Latin America is able to make it all the way through. We do have 2 from the APAC region, 6 from North America, and 7 from Europe. And these things all culminate at the end of the year on that road to events that you are talking about, that you're talking about every day of the week. Yep. It's cool to bring this diversity, and one of the important factors with the Pro League is it can help lift up different regions. You have to note with the Asian region right now, India is also involved in that for the finals of that. And we have the iPad here. I don't know if it's going to be... Oh, perfect. This is beautiful. Chad. So this is the upper bracket from the Asian qualifier so far. This is the closed qualifier. Right now, you can see that Tai Lu, obviously, with the upset victory to Vici there in the opening, that's pretty upsetting, I would say. But if we come down, you can see the lower bracket as well. This is where all the good stuff is going on. CyberZen, Flash, lots of Chinese teams in this bad boy.
We saw CyberZen in Kiev this past week, and this guy, Bottle, definitely stood out as a guy that is out for blood. This guy was hitting shots all across the board, even putting your boys in the boys group under some stress, Chad.
They got slammed, didn't they? That was a bit of an upset victory right there for CyberZen. The other teams that they versed, the games weren't very close. It was over and done with relatively quickly. They got shellacked. I think there was a 16-1 that went down at Star Ladder, so not ideal, but sure, more opportunities for these regions, the better.
Yeah, and in fact, you might not know what Odense is, but it is the hub for robotics and technology here in the North Country. Yeah, I mean, it's only about an hour and a half away. I've been corrected. It's not 3 hours, but for some reason that seemed to get a lot longer the longer this broadcast went on. Now, Chad, let's begin focusing around tonight, because quite frankly, some of these matches, and if not all of them on our stream for sure, is something that we're going to have to tune into here, because for the likes of Navi, Mouse, G2, and Fnatic squaring off, we're starting out with a little bit of FaZe Fnatic.
Yeah, sure. We got the FaZe versus Fnatic game going on there. We've got G2 versus Fnatic as well. I think that B stream can be relatively interesting. We've got Hellraisers versus Astralis. I want to see where Hellraisers are landing, because they didn't look too good off the back of that Star Series game. And Big continued to impress, right? As I mentioned, Astralis did drop a map last night, and I'm pretty sure that was to Big on train. So ups and downs.
Ups and downs.
Vodafone
and it's
present
that time for the Vodafone pre-match.
Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Listen, we're not necessarily the most oiled of mechanics up here on the desk.
I feel like we discussed that earlier.
You know, Chad, I think we might have, but in fact, there were some misfires. Can't even take the blame for it this time. Wasn't me, dare I say.
I had it written down, and we still messed it up. Can we do it properly tomorrow? Let's do it properly tomorrow.
Why don't you go home and practice in the hotel room tonight?
Yeah, but the practice for me is I don't talk during that bit. That's my practice.
Okay.
We fixed it. This is workshop now. Tomorrow, I want this to work 110%.
Cool, Chad. Well, we can never go below 110%. You know what happens then. Now, let's
talk
a little bit about these games today, Chad, because we do have a little bit of a news bit that came in before we got started here. It's kind of buzzing around right now with the likes of Fnatic. Brolin's coming in. We also have Twist coming in. Scream is no longer filling in And so now we have them squaring off against FaZe in the opening matchup of the night.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If people haven't been following Swedish Counter-Strike, they won't realize that the roster changes that have happened over there in recent times. Last year, we did have the Draken and Rez coming into NIP. There's been some shake-ups, but Fnatic now are finally, I think they're on an accelerated Ninjas in Pajamas schedule when it comes to revamping the roster. Whereas Fnatic were, they started their showing kind of later than that of the Ninjas in Pajamas, who are the most legendary team to kick things off. You can see on your screen right now, Scream and Draken, two members who we won't be seeing play tonight for Fnatic. Scream was merely a stand-in, and Draken has been, tossed aside once more, another team that doesn't want him. So we are left with JW, Jumpy the coach in the background there. We've brought in the likes of Twists and Broland. Broland was the news that broke yesterday. It was rumored. 16-year-old prodigy from the Swedish region who I believe was playing for Red Reserve alongside of Twist. He's stepped on up and in, and this is fantastic signs because Crims, we know that he's going to get his. We know that JW can be that very up and down impact player, but what we need is the new talent, and the talent of tomorrow in the Swedish scene is this Broland kid who he actually stood in for this Fnatic roster during a WSG qualifier, I think it was, while Crims was out of action.
Yes, today Broland is the 5th member of the legendary organization of Fnatic. They've had a lot of tenure here within CS and CSGO. I mean, perhaps the entirety of Counter-Strike for what it's worth, and hopefully that they can find that footing that they so, dare I say, deserve. I mean, you put names up there like a Fnatic, you put names up there like a perhaps a Cloud9 now, or Complexity of the old, and you think these are names that should be synonymous with greatness. Can this team find it with this new lineup? Yeah, sure. So the viewer at home and the fan bases, that's who get behind these teams the most. And the people who want it more than that are the organizations, which pour a lot into this. And I was talking to Sam Matthews briefly at the after party at FaZe, I believe it was, after the major. And he said, it feels like it's time for a change. And bringing in a 16-year-old prodigy from the Swedish scene is definitely a big change. It's been on everybody's mind because we haven't actually touched on this Twist move either to this point, right? Twist moving to a team like this has been discussed time and time again throughout the Swedish scene. It's just he's either never gotten an offer he liked or he wanted to play with his friends was the narrative that was being pushed around. But finally him stepping up back into the big leagues, him and Crims on the same team, we get Broland firing on all cylinders. My biggest concern is how are they going to approach it from an in-game leadership standpoint, because I think what needs to happen is now look at the Astralis project, look to what Liquid are doing, look to what all these teams with more structure who are getting the most of their practice are, and follow that. Bring the new generation into something to actually be proud of, as opposed to, still just throwing things together in the server and hoping it works. Well, at the beginning of the FaZe clan, that's probably what the idea was, is we're going to be bringing a massive group of guys together that have a long history tenure, that have the sort of skill and the necessary components to make a winning roster. But within the FaZe clan, Nico, Rain, Kerrigan, Guardian, Olaf, Meister, there's not any changes being discussed. Yeah, well, look, obviously, if there was, it's Kerrigan who's on the chopping block, unfortunately. I think that this team, they've been over so many ups and downs within that last year. If you just think back to the ESL Pro League season finals in Odense for, that would have been season number 6, you remember they went down to SK Gaming in the grand final there, but that was the final that we all wanted. Those two teams at that point in time were the best two teams in the world. Yep. We move into this year, they lose that major. They go down to Cloud9 that you're very proud of in that grand final. And I feel like that was the starting point for what has been the doubt and dismay for this squadron moving forward. To have that major so close and to let it slip has been haunting these guys for the majority of 2018. We had the Olaf Meister going onto the bench by choice because he had some personal issues going on. He wanted to focus on that, and then coming in we had Exist, where they won a trophy with Exist playing for them. They actually had Croman come in as well, where they were looking relatively strong, and Croman showed himself to be a top player within the world. And did it in Brazil. Yeah, and now Olaf is back on the roster, and they haven't been able to reach that form consistently, right? At the major again, this is when Nico started doing the in-game leadership role. Now, you're talking about the fact that we aren't hearing many murmurs about roster changes. I'm hoping that's the case. There's actually something on the front page of Reddit today about Sunny following the other 4 members. Yes. Was it on Instagram? Was it on Twitter? Was it on some form of social media that he started following these players? I assume he would have been following the players on Twitter in the first place. I mean, God forbid anyone can follow who they want on social media these days and know formulated conclusions or conspiracy theories can come out. But within the likes of this FaZe clan, it's definitely been an interesting roller coaster if you have been a fan of the clan. Well, especially if you're like a massive fan of Guardian, who's been unable to grab a major trophy. I think he's been in the final of 3 majors now, and he hasn't been able to close one out. So for him, he wants to grab one. Obviously, Olaf has won some himself. Kerrigan's been
so close, but yet so far, time and time again. Think about this guy with TSM, who's obviously in the Astralis within the infancy of that team. And then Nico, who's touted as a top 3 player or best player in the world, depending on your internal biases. You know, he's yet to grab a major as well. So this team with all the stars is void of that. And I think, you know, the time off, a chance to reflect, a chance to see, hey, things actually aren't as bad as what we think they are, is what this squad needs. And just to pick up a new direction going forward, just to show a new, I guess, vigor for the game. Because, hey, they do have the right pieces of the puzzle. They just need to make sure everybody gets on that same page, that same wavelength, have the same common goal that Astralis was talking about in their little piece they did not too long ago. And I think that we can see FaZe return to that top 3 team in the world, which is definitely a place that the stars in this team desire.
I mean, they obviously have the skills as individuals, right? And there's always this talk about, oh, well, Kerrigan on the chopping block, this, that, and the other. But if you think about the tools that this lineup has, do they have all that they need to really build a really strong house here? Yeah,
in terms of if you look at it mechanically, for sure, right? You know that Rain is the type of player who he has his ups and downs in terms of performance, but he's more malleable to what the squad has. Now that Olaf has come back in, we know that he at one point was the best player in the world. All the pieces, all the mechanical skill is definitely there. It's just the mental side of things. They need to get their confidence back in the leadership regime of this team and know that they can get the W's.
You know, Chad, you said... You talk a little bit about the importance of a leadership role over there, and I think as the leader of this broadcast, we're going to be bringing in these guys over here, our 2 commentators. It's going to be Hugo and Harry, who are just about ready to get in this action. But before I pose any more questions to you guys, Chad, we're going to Mirage.
Yeah.
Any sort of tidbits we can think about going into that?
Look, we don't know what to know from Fnatic. They've had 2 roster changes coming in. They're just going to have the basics, and that's what they're going to be working to build on. It's going to be a lot of individual plays. They're going to be the only thing to pull them out of holes. FaZe are going into one of the most comfortable maps, so I'm expecting FaZe here to take this one relatively comfortably, just considering the circumstances.
And given that time off, I mean, do you guys have anything you'd like to add here in terms of, I mean, other than being excited, perhaps we talk a little bit about what FaZe Clan can hope to accomplish here over, dare I say, a weakened Fnatic who now have new players.
Yeah, I think, again, like we just saw these guys play just the other week in the same maps in the matchup online as well. And Fnatic took, FaZe took both games there. So I'm really just not worried for them, especially with the roster change. Like Brolin, very, very good player, hoping he can step up and like have a good performance here on his opening game against FaZe. But that's not an easy opponent for your first matchup in a new team.
Just before I guess we dive too deeply about the actual matchup results, have the 2 of you had much time to watch Brolin play when he's in the likes of Red Reserve? Because I've seen a couple of sporadic games here, there, and everywhere. It's not that he's had like star performances, but he just seems to be a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that like one of the players a lot of people would like to see picked up is someone like Hampus, right? He's been doing well.
We're talking about
like,
Brolin.
Yeah, no, but that's what I mean. So then like that's why for me Brolin was interesting. Like,
okay.
I think, you know, you look at like the up and coming Swedish stars, he's definitely one on like the tip of people's tongues. But Brolin I think is an interesting pickup. It's going to be good because, you know, he's quite like young, he's quite malleable in that sense. You can kind of shape him to whatever play you need him within this squad. So that's why I'm curious to see how like the addition does work out. But I mean, he's certainly had like some decent performances whenever I have seen him play in the past, right? So the potential's definitely there. It's just, you know, what sort of a role do this Fnatic squad want him to take?
Well, that will be the question of time, and we do have just enough of that, roughly 30 seconds. Chad, who's winning this real quick?
I think you just have to go with FaZe. It's the only thing that makes sense in this scenario, and I think Olaf's going to put up some big numbers in this one.
And that is always an exciting thing to see if you are a fan of the FaZe Clan. I love it when a little bit of Olaf comes online right next to the architect who is actually laying out the foundation here. And, of course, I'm going to hand the foundation over to you guys to do what it is you do.
Yeah, thank you very much, Trace. We're going to try and build upon those foundations, Hugo. Maybe even found a little happy community. Maybe we can stop this metaphor now before it gets too out of control. Fnatic versus FaZe here, and the map is Mirage, everyone's favorite, and all favorite actually for both of these squads as well. So it's going to be exciting, Hugo, from beginning to end.
Yeah, when you're talking about, you know, methodical and, well, no, not even methodical, quite the opposite, more puggy and kind of loose Counter-Strike, this is the map that you want, and especially with a new roster and a bit of a change for Fnatic. This is definitely their chance to surprise us here, show off some individuals, and that's all we're really going to be hoping for Fnatic's sake, just due to these roster changes. But let's find out, Harry. We're straight into this one. FaZe going for the quick B play. They've got the market window smoke in as well, and Rain is diving into the bomb site. We've already got a passive setup from Fnatic. They have to give up the site. Exist is all that stands. Molly drops the bomb. He won't stand much longer.
Yeah, that bomb plant's still yet to come in for FaZe. They do have control of the site right now, but Brolin there's the new boy on Fnatic going to be chiming in with one kill. He's going to get silenced pretty swiftly by Rain there in after.
But Olaf dropping another man down here towards short. Now leaves all the pressure on Crims and JW. Two of the three vintage Fnatic players still in the server. The other, of course, being Olaf now over on this other team. And JW, the last man left alive. They spot him out. They know he's over here towards short, and he's got a lot to do. A 1v3 here, including having to try and overthrow his ex-teammate Olaf Meister. This is not an easy task, and there we go. He does actually end up winning that fight out. So FaZe picking up the pistol here on Mirage.
Yeah, and Olaf already starting off with 2 kills, 3 for Rain. I mean, Olaf being one of the players that Chad assumed would run out the gates with this matchup, especially being up against more Swedes. So that's what you'd like to see, definitely to start off this map. 1-0 for FaZe, of course, and Fnatic not going to be buying upper on the CT side. They've gone for that full eco, hoping to get the 3rd round buy on the CT side, which is kind of the equivalent to the 4th round buy prior to this economy change. We're going to have a fair bit to play with, so up to 2,400 next round. However, this round will be a bit of a waste away, just USPs in middle, and FaZe are already starting to dispatch of them. Bit of damage going the way of Guardian, but he's only on a pistol. He's saving for that AWP to come in nice and early. JW is on this flank and could catch out a FaZe player at top of middle, but they're already watching their back.
Yeah, they seem to have a pretty good idea as to what's going on, and that will be that 2nd round locked in here for FaZe. Getting off to the 2-0 start. Now we see the buy come on in for the Fnatic boys. And this is, of course, on the back of these new economy changes. You know, we've spoken about these a decent bit, but for those of you who haven't been keeping up to date with some of the big changes that have gone on, you now get, you know, $1,900 on the back of losing that pistol round. So you kind of start with a 1-round loss bonus from the offset. JW, he's going to be taking full advantage of that. Opens up through the smoke down here amid to find Rain early on.
Yeah, look at this buy though from Fnatic. They've not got one bit of utility past that smoke and flash. They've gone for full rifles, Harry, and it's crippled them in terms of nades. Now, if you can win all your duels, this isn't necessarily a big problem for them, but again, it really puts you in the dirt and forces you to win your gunfights. Exist has got to do exactly that as well. Twist is going to be playing this B bomb site, and Nico, he's gone down in middle at least. That's opened up something for Fnatic, and a further kill from Twist gets easier by the second as FaZe are stripped limb by limb. 2 players left up, and they still haven't checked this position with Exist, so this should be the biggest surprise of the round, plus that quad B setup.
Yeah, even then JW wrapping on it from behind. This round is all said and done. Fnatic going to be finding it on the back of this early buy. You can see the rifles do prevail. You said, Hugo, you know, it becomes a bit more scrappy. You got to try and win out your fights, but Fnatic, they certainly do that. So now heading into this 2nd round, you can see there's still money for FaZe to scrape a buy together. They're going to be in a similar sort of boat now as their utility also starts to run out. You can even see Guardian relegated down to that Deagle. Free upgrade onto the AWP for JW.
And that's actually the first time we've seen a CT team actually have a good buy coming into the first buy round, and even then, they're giving up all their utility. So the fact that they keep 5 players alive is so important because it's not forcing any rebuys for Fnatic. They even get a free AWP on JW, and everyone has $2,000 left up. So this is a really good spot to be in if you are Fnatic, despite being down around. They might be able to follow up, considering FaZe certainly weakened Guardian on that Deagle. Well, the FaZe are looking to try and exploit this A bomb site. Nico's up in the palace doing exactly that. We've got a passive ramp set up for Karrigan, holding on for any CT aggression, none of which will be shown by Fnatic in this round. And they've gone for the solo B as well, which is a good call to make. Again, FaZe unlikely going to go back into that B bomb site after the mess that was the previous round.
Yeah, can't imagine they're going to be feeling too confident about heading back to that B bomb site. Instead, they're going to be focusing their attention down here towards mid. Grim's holding off the connector right now. Ooh, Olaf is going to spot him. Tagged down in that Molotov very, very low is Olaf, so he has to be a bit more careful now as he's brought down to his knees. Nico even going to be tagged up to 14 HP as well. So boatloads of damage being done here. There's Crims to finally find that frag onto Olaf now. Chains together a second as he decimates Rain down in mid as well. So this is looking like a pretty clean round once again for the Fnatic boys.
Yeah, 20 seconds left as well. FaZe are going to go. They've got to go right now because their loss bonus is not going to be good enough to buy fully round this. It seems like the save has already been called because, frankly, there's not enough time. But, yeah, the 2 players that actually will get loss bonus, Olaf Meister and Rain, they're not going to have enough for rifles. So this makes it a bit of a problem now for FaZe. It's going to give Fnatic a second, and again, set up likely for a third here unless FaZe can surprise us with pistols and these couple of guns saved. Really far from optimal there. That's more of a case of FaZe selling up for the A play, losing the first couple of duels, and as a result just go, okay, we're not going to win this round. We may as well go into another buy round on the upcoming. And in fact, they won't even buy round these AKs. I like that, to be honest, because again, it's not like you saved 3 rifles here for FaZe. Guardian only had a deagle, so you may as well just eco on those other players. That's an unfortunate start. Nico's been put down to 20 HP. He should definitely give his gun to Guardian and, yeah, swap it out. Get the deagle. Nico on a deagle isn't really a downgrade anyway.
Nah, but one thing it is important to note, you notice it there, is the utility usage right now from Fnatic has looked very, very good early on. Nico, in that previous round, got naded down to 11 HP, I think it was, up in Palace, something ridiculously low. You recall Olaf as well early on, getting burnt in that Molotov down to, what, like 36 HP? So the early nade onto Nico this round looks like it could be enough to try and solidify this, especially now JW's gone ahead and dispatched of Guardian down here in middle. The rest of the guys continuing to go peeking on into this. JW does miss that shot, so they manage to get out in towards mid and start to pressure him now. He certainly doesn't miss it the second time around, though. Almost nades himself to death, but he's fortunate to still be alive. Nico's gained this AK back, but they still have yet to find anything.
Yeah, we're getting to this point where this round is probably undoable for FaZe. They found no picks, no map control other than middle, that Fnatic are fine with giving them away, because again, they've got full control of the sites and there's no bomb plants in this round. Fnatic denying any kind of money that FaZe want to pick up. Rain gets spotted in the connector with the bomb as well, and if this fight gets won, then that's the bomb dropped in such an open position. Nico, oh, that nade's going to be perfect. Twist gets caught out, but he still gets away with a frag. And while JW considers walking into his death, he'll think around it. Go back towards the spawn instead. Rain going to walk into middle, and there it is. Fnatic already taking back control. Nice, clean rounds from Fnatic. That's been 3 in a row without losing a player, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, and you think about, what we've seen from a lot of these teams thus far, Hugo, and that's that, on the CT side, they've really, really struggled to build up any sort of economy, had any sort of buffer, right? And we were kind of attributing a lot of that down to these changes, maybe teams feeling a bit more compelled to go for these force buys early on. But they're doing such a good job of keeping this clean. That, they've now built up a very decent bank here on the CT side. And that's a real worry if you're FaZe client, because you're heading into this round once again. It's just going to be an eco. Pistols across the board. It's a chance for Fnatic to find another clean round. Brolin, we're going to see him get tested here down in CT spawn. Going to be a great chance to get to see what the young gun on Fnatic is made of. Unless Crims kills everyone, which, could happen as well. He does manage one, and, that's the first death we've seen in some time here for the Fnatic guys.
Yeah, funnily enough, FaZe get more damage on their ecos than their rifle rounds, right? Just a grouped up, fast push on that A-bomb site. They get what you expect. A couple of kills and nothing else. Just sets them up for the buy round in this one. We are into round number 7 now, and the AWP is back out. Been a long time coming. Fnatic even have the double AWP as well, so this is a bit of a test for Guardian to see if he can try and find some kills in this round. He's holding passive outside of mid right now. JW locking down the window. In the meantime, Brolin's got aggressive on ramp. He had no support and just pushed all the way down and killed Nico. Confidence on this man, despite not only his age, his inexperience, showing through. Getting that first kill. Crims is even pushed into connector as well, but he'll get caught after just one frag. JW does support him with another, but Rain's still up inside that middle position. He's actually taking connector as well, and Exist won't expect it. Rain almost taking him down, but Exist backs off towards that B bomb site, and Guardian's posted ready for JW to re-peek. He's been so keen on peeking that window position. The Guardian was more than ready and more than happy to take that frag.
Oh, Brolin does spot out Rain, and there's no trade potential right now from Guardian. He's desperately trying to find a position in which he could secure something. But not quite. Throws in that Molotov. That does force Brolin almost down to his eyes, but not quite. Just manages to get past the man in CT, but Brolin positioning himself very, very well within the site there to just keep Guardian pressured, trying to force those fights. Fnatic up 5-2. Once again, money going to start to become an issue here for the FaZe clan. This is very much a game going against a lot of what we've seen. If you think back to yesterday, which was just ridiculously dominant T sides and then very, very quiet CT side halves.
Yeah, for both teams. Some real comebacks. You had those 12 threes that Happened between NIP and Na'Vi, if we remember as well. We had some really interesting games yesterday. Like, some of them weren't that close, but they were still really exciting. Lots of highlight clips, lots of like cool approaches. And this is a surprise for anyone aware or unaware. Sorry, Fnatic are doing a great job to be leading right now. FaZe have not found themselves in this game since that second round that they gained. Their rifle rounds have been pretty far away from finding anything. Karrigan's so close to taking down Bolin in the smoke, and he shoots just a bit too late. That's the run boost. JW will spot it, but of course he goes back in for more. Guardian's not ready this time, but Rain certainly is. Fantastic shot. That gun is irretrievable being in the window room, and Brolin's already pushed down on ramp once again to get in the face of FaZe Clan. So Rain is still kind of hung out to dry here, but any damage he can get can be worth its weight in gold. So as he looks for a little bit more, creeping in through short. He's hiding in the smoke right now while that fades. Twist has the lockdown as well, and this is such an awkward setup for Rain to walk into. He's got a man on triple, a man on short, and a man in the window. So not going to happen. Fnatic 6-2 up here now, Harry. But here is the rebuy from FaZe.
Yeah, they managed to get the AWP out over on Guardian. Rifles across the board for everyone else. Now, for Fnatic, not too surprised. I would guess that maybe they're getting off to a good start here on Mirage. It is kind of one of their bread and butter maps if you think about it. And also, if you look back historically, whenever they have played versus FaZe, this has been probably their best map. I think it's one of the only ones they've actually picked up wins on versus FaZe. The last time they played as well online, you referenced those results, right? I think even that was a full 30-round game. FaZe were able to win out in the very end. Now you add in Brolin. It's going to be exciting. Here's this push in towards B. Twist does manage one. More players starting to come his way. Ooh. Out with the Deeg into the open, but they're not ready for Crims, who now pounces out. He's found a double and denied the bomb plant at that. And suddenly this flank in from Rain has to save the day. Guardian up here in the apartments. He's got so much to do. A minute left on the clock, and he's just waiting for Rain to get into position to try and bail him out. They do have that one Molotov on Guardian. That can be used to try and force Crims out of position, or maybe clear the angle at bench. And they now throw that to go ahead and get Crims into the open. Rain finds him, but suddenly it's Brolin, the new boy. The 16-year-old Swede on Fnatic, left in the 1v1. Goes peeking on out, but he is going to get bested by the Architect Rain. He picks up a third there for FaZe.
That's really nice from FaZe as well. Guardian set his teammate up so well to win that 1v2 essentially on the site. Throws in the Molotov, forces Crims to move out of position right as Rain gets into the bomb site, and that's a free kill for him. Again, FaZe could have definitely been a bit of a complicated spot with Guardian stuck in the apartments on that AWP, not really able to trade his teammates after Crims got 2 on the bomb site. Normally on a rush, you're going to leave that AWP up in the apartments, because not only can you watch the back line, but you can post up, look at market, look at short, and just hold one of these long angles. So favourable for the AWP. Double AWP back out here for the CT side, and Fnatic, they've given early mid-control away to FaZe. Rain has wormed his way up into the connector instantly. And Brolin's still inquisitive on ramp. He's still getting aggressive and looking for this early kill. Nico going to be spraying at the player far away, but it's actually Brolin who gets tagged, and he still sits on the ramp. Definitely curious to see him doing this so often, because FaZe are going to be very, very aware and ready for it. Like, this setup, now this is a nightmare, because we have 2 players here, and with Crims playing so close, after you kill Crims, if that is possible, which is hard enough as it is, there's no way you expect Brolin in that position as well. So FaZe already down a man, fighting back up. They've lost control of the B apartments as Exist is pushed into the kitchen. And ramp. I mean, this is just such a good setup for Fnatic. Despite the fact that they already have a man advantage and don't necessarily need to play aggressive for information, they've gotten so much of it with the apartments clear, the ramp clear. The only problem is, look at Rain. He's crept in through jungle. He is snuck behind enemies. And Nico, as long as he can get in through the apartments, this bomb can split that B bomb site, but Exist won't let them get that far. He's already taken 1. Second kill coming out from Rain, catching the rotation off of that A bomb site, and Karrigan's even dropped Exist up in the B site as well. There's 20 seconds left, and FaZe, they need to hit this B site.
They still have to get past Twist, and he's still here, holding them back. Crims now comes through at the very end, and Fnatic going to be securing themselves a 7th round on the board. On the back of that, the reset going to come in now for FaZe. It's going to be back to this very weak economy that we've seen. Right now, really only Rain getting anything done. I mean, if I recall, the last time you and I at least casted the FaZe guys back in week 1, it was kind of a similar story, right? Rain was really one of the only kind of shining points to talk about, it felt like.
Yeah, FaZe had a really difficult week 1 and then kind of bounced back, and they played like 2 massive confidence booster games versus AGO and Wendigo and just slapped them like in both matches. And we were hoping, okay, like that's good. They won the games they should be winning. Like, there's no way you lose that game if you're FaZe. If you do, there's a big problem. And I would lump Fnatic in that category of, okay, this is a game that FaZe should be winning, but Fnatic clearly proving us wrong. This new roster having success in day 2 here of week 2, or day 6 of Pro League. But we are early days, Harry. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. FaZe are down on another eco, and Economy has been plaguing them these last couple of rounds. Short spot for Exist, and he gets a lot of damage off that. Molly can go down, but he hasn't got support from the site because the shot's actually missed from that AWP on JW. This allows FaZe to get pretty far up short and close to getting this bomb down. As we can see, Guardian's in a really, really good position here. Problem is, the rest of his team is starting to fall apart. This left side wrap, and Twist is not ready for it. Guardian's taking him down. That's the bomb dropped, but Guardian's still in the site. This may not be winnable, but every bit of damage can make this all the more lucrative for FaZe Clan. Oh, nice shot from Guardian. He might do this after all. There's still 2 players up, and Brolin luckily will join the team and get a team ace. But for a nearly full eco for FaZe, that is uncharacteristically close.
Now we have a pause called on in. But yeah, I mean, you know, we can use this time to kind of speak about the addition of Brolin and why it's so interesting, I guess. You know, I'm very much, you know, there are a few kind of these up-and-coming Swedes, Hampus being the other one that I mentioned that I'd say, like, I've been a fan of. Brolin's been, like, a really interesting one, though. He signed, I think it was for Godsent back when he was, like, 15. Just 16 years old now. I think he's only actually been playing. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. He's been playing, you know, on actual teams for just about a year. You know, originally signing to Passions early on, which I actually watched them play a few times. They were all right, you know, like they had...
Was that like Jazar and...
Yeah, it was, I mean, they've had a fair few people play under the banner.
I would imagine,
But I think he was back on there with Hampus originally, and then that was when they were picked up by Godsent.
Oh, like Rusty,
together.
Brolin,
yeah, exactly.
Zadish. Oh my god, yeah, we're going old.
But, you know, so Brolin's been around, that's why he's such a...
Gamer.
You know, yeah, I mean, despite being 16, right, you kind of look at the caliber of teams he's already been a part of, the players he's already played with, you know, it's pretty impressive. Very much on the upwards trajectory is Brolin. That's why he's going to be such a hot topic, I think, within Swedish CS. But here's this push coming in towards B. Exist trying to hold his own, does have support from Twist, but he's going to get bested by Olaf. So the Swedes lighting up the scoreboard right now on either side of the server. Crims and Olaf. I'm going to go blow for blow, but it's actually Olaf to find that nade. Will get finished off by JW. And are we going to have a round where only Swedes get kills? As Guardian left in a 1v3. A lot to do here, and that bomb down in the middle of the site, that's going to be such an issue to try and retrieve. But he does manage to get across. He does manage to get the bomb in hand. Now with the bomb down, it's Fnatic on the clock, and this is planted for the apartments. He just misses the timing there. Onto the man at short, and as he turns back, that's Brolin, elusive as ever. He's going to be locking in that 9th round for Fnatic.
Another team ace as well. I mean, no one's even like going crazy ham for Fnatic right now. Everyone's just doing their part, picking up a killer piece. Only Swedes finding frags that round, as you say, Harry. And it's Crim's top of the board. That's not a surprise. He's been the light of the... what's the saying? I'm mixing up 2 sayings. The light in the dark. That doesn't really make sense.
That'll do. That's good.
He's been the light in the dark for Fnatic. In all of these dark times, he's been the one player who can consistently keep it up.
Brolin's any metaphor works.
Thank you, Harry. I'm glad you give me some
agenda.
confidence. Brolin's been playing great as well. He's 11-3, second on that scoreboard. Definitely not dying either.
Yeah, I mean, the mental thing is when you say he's 11-3, I always thought you were on about age because he is like, it's just so young, and that's what's so interesting, right, about like watching him start to learn as a player. You know, how he slots into these teams. But, you know, Fnatic, like, bit of a history of working with young players, molding them into the top talent. You even kind of think back to, like, JW when he was first around.
You used to play for Fnatic as well, Harry?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Me. I remember that.
Bit of a gamer.
No one talks about that, but
didn't happen. You go.
Look at this fake
Stick to your
Carrigan. He's throwing
imagination.
all his nades into this B bomb site. Fnatic try and rotate off the back of it, and look at Brolin getting caught out, moving off at the top of the palace. Crims does find 2. And that will put it into at least a winnable situation for Fnatic, but they've still taken some serious casualties. That bomb has to be picked up, but FaZe are going to have trouble crossing to the site unless Guardian can get this kill to Twist. And oh no, the timing could not be worse. Twist is going to be so upset after that round. He's at least got the pistol out, and Exist does bail him. It's actually Twist to find the kill, but Nico's picked up a gun, and that's always dangerous, even without armor. So with 2 AWPs in play, he has a chance to get these one shots, but he's going to fight Exist first if he peeks into this jungle as he holds the cross. JW finds a shot from CT. Another clean round for Fnatic. Only Brolin going down, and that's due to the early B fake from Carrigan, right? Throws a bunch of nades in, forces these CTs to begin to rotate, and then, you know, 1 kill comes from it for FaZe.
Yeah, this is certainly not the FaZe that we were expecting we would see out the gate. You know, I guess, you know, there's always, it's the first game of the day, perhaps, you know, maybe off to a slow start. You are facing Fnatic on a map that prolifically has been so good for them. And, here's Carrigan and Rain chiming in with frags between them, changing up the pace now. JW going to get pressured and sprayed down by Carrigan, but here's the new boy, Brolin. I was going to say, trying to make a name for himself down towards the ramp will get silenced by Olaf Meisters. The old trumps the new, now Exist left in a 1v4, rotating in from this B-bomb site. Doesn't really fancy his odds. They're going to be buying up in the next round anyway, and he does get timing there as Rain picks him up. So 4-10, a lot of something for FaZe Clan to start to work with here in the closing segments of this half.
Yeah, it's just the worry in the back of my head of yesterday and how T-sided every game was. And, like, a lot of the reason Fnatic are off to a strong start is they take that, you know, full eco in the second round. They get a full rifle round with no nades, and they win it without losing a player. And then they follow up with 2 more flawless rounds. And they just started off this map with such a strong CT economy, which can be so difficult. If FaZe don't do the same, then we could be in for a very, very tough second half. So this round is going to be very, very important, but already it's starting to, well, fall apart here for the T side. Re-peek for Guardian could be perfect, but Twister's peeked back in with a flash, sets up his team to try and get aggressive, and they already do. On top, Brolin dead. JW tries to trade things out. He's instead just going to re-smoke the palace, keep Nico contained in that position. Nico doesn't care for anyone. He's going to go right out through the palace. Twist defends with another shot, keeping things up for Fnatic, and he's even found 3 this round. And escaping Olaf Meister, running away with the bomb, but Fnatic, they should have this round every single time.
Yeah, this is going to be a clash of teammates here to decide who wins the last round of the half. Now, Olaf pushing on in. There is a man going aggressive over in Palace, rather. That's Exist, so he's the fail-safe in this situation. Even if you do lose Twist down towards CT spawn, you have him there. Crims has cleared out the B apartment, so they know that Olaf is still over here toward A. They're going to hear him drop on down, and as he taps on the bomb, Exist now peeking into this, should be able to silence it. Missed shot from Twist. Exist rather swings on out, saves the day, locks in that 11th round for Fnatic, and that is an utterly fantastic CT side here from the Swedes.
One thing I'm really happy to see from Fnatic and how they're playing, I mean, we're only 1 half in, but it seems like they're letting Brolin have a lot more space on this team, right? He's playing positions that he's definitely used to. In the past, I've seen him play that close A ramp on CT side. It's not like, you know, Fnatic picked him up and went, okay, right, Brolin, you're playing all the horrible spots. You're going to play B site Mirage. You're going to be our anchor. Like, Brolin's just clearly got a lot of room on this team so far,
yeah.
and that's good to see. If you're going to bring in someone who maybe could be a star player, even despite his age, let him play exactly where he wants to play.
I think that's pretty, you know, it's noble of the Fnatic guys, and I think it's good as well that they kind of acknowledge, you know, like maybe it's good to let someone else have this space, you know, not just try and force them to your will. And then it's also a good thing about having Exist in your team. He's someone who does just kind of roll with the punches if he has to, right? Like if someone, you know, if anyone's going to get screwed over in this team in terms of where they play, I think he'd gladly take that mantle. You know, you kind of think about him in NIP. He was basically like forced into that IGL role for a while as well. Like essentially, there was a whole back and forth there with that. So, but you know, he loves an IGL. Does Exist. 11-4, Hugo.
Yeah,
for FaZe, what needs to change? What needs to happen? Because right now it's only Rain and Olaf on that scoreboard. Guardian, Carrigan, and Nico. 14 kills between them. Rain currently more than the bottom 3 on his team.
Well, Pistol would certainly start things off well for FaZe, but as we've seen, those have been inconsistent, and the follow-ups have been very back and forth in terms of how every team likes to approach that. It'll be interesting to see how FaZe and Fnatic do exactly the same. We obviously had the Pistol won in the first half by FaZe, and the second round, and still they're at 4. It's going to be an A play here for Fnatic. FaZe of 2 in the CT spawn. This could be something to catch him off guard, but Nico, that molly's going to spread. He didn't get out of the position immediately, and he delayed it only to allow himself to go down to even lower health as the Molotov spread. Didn't give him much of an escape route there, or an option. As Fnatic now have that bomb down in a 5-on-5. This is a full CT retake, and look at the wraparound for Fnatic. They've got all back into middle.
Well, this could prove to be a blessing, but it could just as equally be a bit of a curse. There is no smoke, however, for FaZe. That's something to bear in mind. You can't just nullify this wraparound in through mid. Kara going to throw out that one nade down here towards ramp, and sadly that now means these players in connector can just go unchecked. It's Brolin and Crims lighting up the scoreboard right now. These two have looked fantastic for Fnatic, and JW going to go ahead and lock in this round. They try and chase down Guardian. He does escape with the armor.
I mean, that's just you say it could be a blessing or a curse. That was just a case of FaZe having no idea what was going on, right?
Yeah.
They run everyone into the bomb site together in the hopes of, okay, let's just trade, let's just push, pressure triple, make sure no one's Tetris or backside box, and they find not a single player, and then suddenly Fnatic are all peeking at the same time from jungle and con. Like, that's such a surprise. And while while not normal to see, Fnatic knew they could go for that long rotate because FaZe are playing the CT setup. They were playing for retake, and FaZe aren't going to go challenge the bomb without 5 players there. So Fnatic knew they had the time and the space to rotate all the way around the other side.
That's always my biggest issue, you know, if you're playing a retake setup, you don't have any utility to get you back into that bomb site. Like, you had the one nade on Karrigan, but you know, I mean, if you have like a flash there, a flash and a smoke, suddenly you're that much more versatile, right? If you'd spotted that many players in mid and you throw a smoke down connector, it's like, oh, well, Fnatic, that whole strat just goes out the window now. You've got all your players trapped on the other side of it. But, you know, yeah, 5v5 retake, certainly not the situation that FaZe would have dreamed of.
Oh my god.
Rain. Gonna do good damage at least.
Look at JW.
He's just waiting.
He crouched below all those bullets that Rain shot above his head. Now Rain's going to walk to his death because there's no way he expects JW here now. Flashbang's out. Just JW is being a total nuisance. Oh dear. Dear, oh dear. That is not what you want to see if you're FaZe.
Well, Guardian was the man who saved armor. There's an AK now at the top of connector. It's just Fnatic, they really don't want to let him get away with it. They're already hunting him down and he knows it. He's desperate to hang on to this armor. Oh, it's pretty bad now for Guardian. You're very much surrounded here. And that's Brolin hounding him down at the very end.
The reason that's so good from JW, right, is if he waits till after the smoke is faded and then he jumps across, you're going to hear the footstep, you're going to hear the jump landing on top of stairs. If you're playing stairs, you're ready for it. But because JW hides and crouches there as Rain shoots through to make sure no one's in the smoke, like, there's never... JW never makes a noise, and then he just gets flashed in later in the round after the smoke fades and gets two and a half kills. Like, there's no way you expect that of your FaZe clan, and Rain got completely caught off guard. So that's actually cool to see, hiding in that stair smoke. Dangerous, yes, but up against pistols, it's going to work out wonderfully. And 13-4, Harry, this is do or die for FaZe. Win this round or lose the game. That is the option they've been presented with, and Fnatic, they are going to try and steal this away on the B side.
Here is Karrigan lying in wait. It's good for the first kill onto Brolin. Now just has to try and buy some time for these rotations to come in. And he does end up falling at the first hurdle. Nico now taking up the in-game lead mantle. He's the first on the scene. He's going to try and do some damage downrange onto Crims. Does tag him up a bit. All just sat outside of this bomb site, and once again it's this very tricky retake for FaZe. Damage done from Exist, but Guardian is able to pick up the kill. JW bailed out by Crims. His crossfire looking good. Crims actually just taking the fight onto everyone. There's JW fighting Nico, and Guardian's got to back away and save, looking to try and hold on to this AWP. It's going to be a 14th round for Fnatic.
And yeah, such a nice afterplant there. Fnatic clearly ready for the push back in from Market. So common on the CT side of this map. And no apps flank just makes things even more difficult for FaZe, right? Especially when you're going to spend all that time setting up for the retake before pushing. You may as well get an apps flank in. But Crossfire is established on the B-bomb site there for Fnatic, and 14 rounds to 4 here. This is I don't even know. This is such a surprise. Like, well, we saw these guys play at ECS the other day, and there was a bit of a stomp. I think it was a 16-6. That was for FaZe, and that was on Inferno as well. The map will be having come up right after this one between these two teams, and I'd love to see if FaZe can bounce back from this loss. Because right now it's looking like a loss. 2 rounds from exactly that. The SaVe WP is joined by a hell of a lot of SMGs, and ooh, Guardian. Still not missing his shots. He's going to take down JW on short, but it is only a B split with the majority of players coming into Yaps and coming into their death. Karrigan's here with a FAMAS, and with the flames at his feet, he fires off fast. 2 kills for him and 2 players left up.
Yes, Twister and Crim still here for Fnatic. Karrigan's already sent them back to the depths in which they came, though, and now this flank coming on in as well. Something to bear in mind. Now they've gone back with the bomb. At least Twist has. He has to be careful, though, not to fall prey to this man in the back line. Still 40 seconds left on this clock. Fnatic by no means out of this round if they don't want to be, but it's going to be... Yeah, now they pretty much are. Twist falls as that bomb drop. 30 seconds for Crims to try and do the impossible. A 1v5 versus the FaZe clan, and it's just not happening. Guardian going to go ahead and find himself a triple there. That's a nice turnaround from... man, who hasn't got off to the best of starts in this game. Now starting to rise up that scoreboard a bit.
Slow and steady, Harry.
Well, he started this half with 4 kills, now kind of catching up to the rest of the guys as he sits on 11.
Little Molotov there, try and stop any mid-smoke from Fnatic and still have an angled peek. Fnatic won't know until they've already peeked out through middle, but no smoke for them. There's the flash going through. Guardian will miss the shot on the cross. So Fnatic have now been given mid, and now with Guardian wrapping round, FaZe have to now change their setup on the A-bomb site because they have to care about connector and as well as short. Olaf is here, and he's going to get forced forward by the Molotov. This may actually work out well for him because they might not expect this position with that molly going in so deep. You can see they're all looking at connector with none of their attention diverted on Olaf. He gets a nade perfectly landing, but the shot will not. And Twist has taken him down. At the cost of a lot of health here for Fnatic, but with no window peek coming through, they expect it to clear and they try and boost up, only for Nico to drop another player. FaZe Clan with a nice pullback to a 4-on-4. Rain's going to attempt to get aggressive on ramp, but Exist quells that pretty quickly. Fnatic are back in charge of this round, but not by the health by any means. 2 players on 30 or lower. A reboost in window could be well timed because look at Nico. He's actually repositioning while he's making sure no one can split the CT spawn. Fnatic is still in a spot where they can get a player into jungle, try and get that A-bomb site under control. And while FaZe is totally okay with that, they're playing retake with Guardian in the CT spawn. This is going to be Fnatic reading the situation very well.
Yeah, Guardian's got a lot to do here as they look to test him. If he can get 1 and just fall back and then they play a 3v3, then that's fantastic. But with only 15 seconds, the danger is that Guardian could shut this whole round down, but he's just missed the timing to spot these players out. And that bomb now has gotten into the bomb site. He's trying to deny it going down, but Karrigan caught off guard by JW. Now all the pressure falling onto Guardian and Nico, and they're going to start to back away. They're giving up this round. Nico, well, he has discovered and dealt with JW down in mid. They're now looking like he's tempted. This is always, I mean, when you've been this hesitant, you kind of already have to give it up, right? You've already had Guardian fall away. He's come back. They're going to try it. They're going to try and make this work.
It's 14-5. I mean, they can't keep saving. You can't save every single round. Even if they don't go for this, they can try and get some kills, take some guns away from Fnatic, who have yet to establish an economy. And Nico's doing exactly that. 1 kill left. Oh, Brolin's taking him down, though, and Guardian's all that stands now for FaZe. He's going to have to run away once again. So another saved AWP, but not a saved round, because Fnatic 1 away from victory here on Mirage. This is not the game of the day, Harry, where I would have looked at and gone, yeah, one-sided. And if I would have, it would not have been for Fnatic.
No, almost certainly not. I mean, the times that these guys have met on this in the past, admittedly, if you look over at Fnatic with slightly different rosters, it's always been a close game. Like regardless of which way it's gone, it's always been up into the double digits, the 430 rounds, or, getting there. So this is one of the most brutal losses that FaZe have had versus Fnatic on this map. At least if that is indeed how it pans out, maybe calling it a little bit too soon. Nico and Rain here, lying in wait. Rain up close with the MP9 awards ramp. He does love a ramp play with this weapon. But he might start to hate it. Twist gonna behead him. Nico left in this effectively 1v5. Rotations coming on in. Guardian even looking like he might try barreling through that smoke. Nico doesn't even see the enemy before he's been dealt with. And there is a slight gap for Guardian to look to try and exploit. He's managed one. Olaf going to be on that secondary AWP, but a double AWP in the retake is anything but ideal here for FaZe. You need to see these AWPs start to go off sometime soon. Exist holding close to this smoke and time. Working against FaZe Clan. Ian has been spotted, but Carrigan swings out wide, making this possible. Damage done onto Guardian. Carrigan falls, and it's Crimson Brolin to lock this in. Fnatic going to be picking this up, and they look dominant while they do it. The Swedes going to be feeling good as they secure this first map, 16-5.
What a start from Fnatic, and now we've really got to wonder how that second map of Inferno is going to go between these two teams, right? Is this FaZe Clan not feeling warmed up, not feeling ready to go, or is it Fnatic in that honeymoon period with a couple of roster changes and a new sense of how to approach this game? Fantastic start from Fnatic, and we're going to find out over on Inferno after the break.